Hey everyone! Welcome back to Story Hive. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Let's jump into today's story. My sister chose my high school bully as her fiancé. She believes his lies over my truth and now demands I be her maid of honor. I have four older brothers and one twin sister, Violet. We are both 31. For all intents and purposes, I am the spare. My parents did want a girl, and they wanted a girl big difference. Mom tells the story often that Violet came out easily, hardly any labor while I was troubled the moment I was born. So over time I just thought, forget it, I'm the trouble. I aimed to misbehave. We are not identical. Violet is absolutely beautiful, feminine, bright, and bubbly. She's practically Jean Grey of the X-Men. I'm more like Rogue, not the classic one, but more like the cartoon reboot from the 2000s when they made them all teens and Rogue was standoffish, self-sabotaging, and goth. I'm only goth on Tuesdays, but I had a streak of self-sabotage in my teen years. When you're the less favorite girl of six kids, eight, if you count the dogs, your self-esteem tends to tank. Violet was first at everything, first to walk, talk, all that. According to my parents, she was also first to date, first to get awards, do a show, and hey, it's because she's kick-ass. My sister is the most brilliant woman I know after my mom. I'm not kidding when I say I look up to her a lot. I was always just a little ray of sunshine. I'm the first of us to get diagnosed with a learning disability and the first to get arrested. I'm actually sort of proud of that one, but we're not here to talk about that. I was also the first in the family to get what Dad called a stress stutter. I do have a mild stutter, but I manage fine unless under a lot of duress. So hey, she's not the best at everything, right? We were really close, and I didn't notice us drifting apart until high school. By then I had my own problems, one being Daniel Swift, fake name. This sloppy knob was always picking on me. He and his crew made school and community events absolute hell for me since grade school. Most adults said it was because he liked me, but by the end of middle school, it was clear he hated my guts. He always compared me to my sister, pointing out how inferior I was. He would be confused, asking, if you're twins, why is one of you pretty and the other isn't? By middle school, he had a name for me, something to do with my real name, so let's say Lumpy Lily. Just a name to remind me that I was fat. Looking back, I know I wasn't. Puberty hit me fast and hard, and boom, baby got back. He was relentless, and his friends were too. I told on him once because a teacher found me crying while forcing myself to throw up in the bathroom during practice. Somehow, he managed to turn it around on me, saying I was bullying him and his friends vouched for him. I got suspended from the team during the season and had to write an apology letter in detention. He once slapped me, and when I went to tell, he denied it, saying I punched him in the stomach and turned on the waterworks. His friends said they saw me hit him and call him a loser. My parents were so upset with me, Dad had to leave work to pick me up. He didn't believe me at all when I said I didn't do those things. He would rant that I wasn't the only kid and needed to stop being so much trouble. So I shut down, kept my head down, and didn't bother to say anything. He called me the defective one, the spare, the botched clone, everything he could think of. Some were admittedly clever, but all were cruel. When Daniel picked on me, I would ignore him, and if I couldn't, I just endured it. Senior year, he wasn't around much, and I heard his mom died. It was the first year I was without his constant teasing, and it was the best year of my life. I feel terrible, but I was so glad he wasn't there, even if it was because of something so awful. I could never imagine enduring the loss of a mom. I got into some hobbies and made a good friend, Sonny. Now, fast forward to now, I live a state over and work as an educator. I love what I do, it feels good most of the time, but hey, this ain't Disney. Sometimes being a teacher sucks raw rotten eggs. But I get to be the adult I wish I had in the room when I was young. Sunny lives a city over, which is just a 20-minute drive in traffic, so we see each other often. She's easily my best friend. Violet and I are still close along with my brothers, but we're all in our thirties now, some with kids and spouses, so we don't talk much. Violet and I would have calls and occasional FaceTimes. My sister is incredible. She became a nurse, quickly realized she wanted to be a nurse practitioner, and now she helps people in need by donating most of her time outside of work at a shelter in our hometown. She looks after our parents and makes sure they have all they need. She owns a house, has an Etsy business, a blog, and hella TikTok. She's kicking ass and I couldn't be prouder. Last year, she was all excited because she thought she found the one. She called him James. Every picture of him shows this big ex-military dude with tattoos, a beard, and those douchy big sunglasses some guys never take off. No shade if you do that too, but if you also own a truck and have a come and take it sticker on it, a teensy bit of shade is warranted, because James did. What do you think? I wasn't going to cyberstalk my only sister's love interest. I stalked the hell out of him, but he had no socials other than a LinkedIn. He's a former Marine who contracted himself out before owning his own full-time consulting business. I was happy for my sister because she really was the woman who had everything. What she wanted was to fall in love and have that classic romance, kiss and leg pop, get married, have babies, ride off into the sunset, get kissed in the rain, and all that sappy crap. I get it, and my sleuthing came up with nothing. I wasn't going to yuck or yum her taste in guys because I'm biased from living in a state with dude bros who love their trucks and shades more than life itself. Whatever, she's happy. This past Easter, I talked with Vi about how excited I was to be around her and the boys again, and she mentioned that she was bringing James. I don't remember what I said, but I expressed excitement to finally meet this guy since Dad and our eldest brother had already met him and said he's a stand-up dude. She got quiet and had this tone like, yeah, about that. I paused and asked what was wrong. She said she needed to talk to me because James is my old crush from school. I was confused because while I was close with my siblings, I never talked about crushes with most of them, and definitely not Violet. It just wasn't what we discussed. I said I didn't remember crushing on a James, and that's when she said he went by his middle name Daniel in school. Now Daniel's real name is pretty common, so I was like, well, I don't remember a Daniel I crushed on, but which one do you mean? We narrowed it down to that soggy twat, and there wasn't much to say after that other than I never had a crush on him. She was relieved to hear that and said she actually didn't realize James and Daniel were one and the same until he brought it up on like the fourth date or something. By then, she had already developed feelings and couldn't bear the thought of hurting me or walking away from her chance at love. I decided to tell her a bit at Easter, and I pulled her aside before he arrived since we all stayed at our parents' house the night before. I told her most of what I've now told you. This guy made my life hell. Violet was devastated, kept asking if I was sure it was him, and said that was years ago, maybe I had it wrong. I got frustrated and sort of gave up. Easter was tense, but Daniel did say hi to me, like long time no see, remember me. I just said, oh, I do, and kept my distance. From then on it was a dance. Mother's Day, Father's Day, Mom and Dad's anniversary, a brother's birthday, you get it. Good old Daniel was around. By this point, I had told two of my brothers some of what was happening because they had scolded me for being standoffish around him. They assumed I was upset about Daniel taking my only sister. Once they knew, though, they weren't happy. We all got together again for Jonathanth, and of course Dandy Daniel was there. But this time Vi had a ring. My mother screamed with excitement, whooping through the restaurant, telling everyone her baby girl is getting married sent a wave of excitement through the room. My heart sank, though, as I watched Violet glow with happiness, completely unaware of my turmoil. Daniel's presence felt like a shadow looming over the celebration. and I struggled to maintain a smile as my brothers cheered. Once the initial excitement died down, I pulled Violet aside, determined to express my feelings. I kept my voice steady as I reminded her of the pain Daniel had caused me. She seemed surprised, insisting that it was all in the past and that I needed to support her happiness. Frustration bubbled within me. "He's not a good person, Vi. You're choosing someone who hurt me." I snapped, my voice shaking. But as I looked at her, I realized she was focused solely on her own joy, not seeing the hurt I carried. When I caught Daniel's eye and saw his smug grin, I felt defeated. Overwhelmed, I retreated to the bathroom. The next day, I received her text asking me to be her maid of honor, and it felt like a punch to the gut. I was torn between loyalty to my sister and the discomfort of celebrating a marriage that felt like a betrayal to my past. What should I do? I sat in silence, staring at my phone, trying to process Violet's message. My heart raced with conflicting emotions. On one hand, I wanted to support my sister and be there for her, but on the other, I couldn't shake the memories of Daniel's bullying. I took a deep breath and started typing a response, but every word felt heavy. How could I explain my feelings without hurting her? I wanted her to understand that this wasn't just about jealousy or past grievances, it was about my mental well-being. After a long struggle, I finally replied with a hesitant, "Can we talk about this? I need to share how I feel." It felt like a small step. What if she didn't understand? What if this drove a wedge between us? As the day wore on, I replayed our last conversation in my mind, wondering if she would truly listen. I hoped she would see that my feelings weren't just about Daniel, they were about the years of pain I had endured. I just wanted her to know that I loved her, but I needed to protect myself too. I finally sent the message and anxiously waited for her reply. When my phone pinged, my heart raced. It was Violet, of course. "Let's talk." We arranged to meet at our favorite coffee shop the next day. I spent the evening tossing and turning, rehearsing what I wanted to say. I wanted to be honest without sounding bitter, to express my love for her while still setting boundaries. The next day, as I walked into the coffee shop, I spotted Violet at a corner table, her excitement palpable. She greeted me with a warm smile, but it felt forced on my end. I sat down, and for a moment we made small talk, but I could sense the tension lingering beneath the surface. "Okay, what did you want to talk about?" she finally asked, her expression shifting from cheerful to concerned. Taking a deep breath, I plunged in. I just I need you to understand how I feel about Daniel. He made my life really difficult in high school, and I'm struggling to reconcile that with your happiness. It feels unfair." Violet's brow furrowed. "I get that, but I thought you were over it. This is my chance at happiness, and it feels like you're trying to take that away from me." "I'm not trying to ruin anything for you," I replied, my voice steady but laced with emotion. "But I can't pretend that he didn't hurt me. It's hard for me to be around him, and I need you to see that." She paused, clearly grappling with my words. "But I love him, and I thought you would support me. What if he's changed?" "Maybe he has, but I can't just forget how he treated me," I said, feeling tears prick at my eyes. "It's not that simple for me." We sat in silence for a moment, and I could see her processing everything. Finally, she said, "I just want my sister to be there for me on my big day. It hurts to think you might not want to be part of that." "I want to be there for you, but being maid of honor isn't just a title. It means I have to be involved with him." Her expression softened, and I could see the conflict in her eyes. "I don't want to choose between you and him, Lily. Can't we find a middle ground?" "I hope so," I replied, feeling a glimmer of hope. "But it's going to take time for me to adjust. I just need you to understand where I'm coming from." As we talked, I felt a sense of relief. It wasn't an easy conversation, but we were finally communicating. I hoped that together we could navigate this complicated situation while still preserving our bond. Thanks for tuning in to today's Reddit story. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss out on more amazing stories. See you next time.